On today's episode of Auto Minute, I'll show you how to easily fix a sticky throttle like this on your motorcycle. Let's go. The motorcycle I have here is a DRZ400. The first thing I want to do is remove the following two screws on the throttle housing. I personally like going back and forth when loosening or tightening these things up, like this. Take note of the screws as you remove them, as they are not identical in length. Now that we have the screws removed, let's pull back the rubber casing. Doing so will allow us to separate and remove the throttle housing. A closer look and we can see that there's a good amount of gunk living in here. Let's get this cleaned up. I'm simply going to use a lightweight cleaning spray and brush to get as much of the gunk out as possible. Since I'm using water to clean this, I'm going to make sure that this is bone dry before reassembly. Check out how good these look now. Let's put this aside for the time being. Let's go ahead and disconnect these cables from the throttle tube. If you're concerned about crossing up the cables, just remember that these 2 points meet this way. Also, I don't actually think you can put the throttle housing back if the cables are switched around, but you never know. Once I have the cables disconnected, the throttle tube just slides right off. As we can see, there's plenty of dirt built up within this as well. I'll go ahead and clean the bar that the tube lives on. I'm using a fine grit sandpaper and cleaner to do this. Once this is smooth to the touch, let's go ahead and clean up the throttle tube using a bristle brush like this. You can probably get away with using an old or current toothbrush to clean this, or maybe even stuff a paper towel through it. Once this is cleaned, let's prep the surface on the bar with a little automotive grease. While you've got the grease out, go ahead and grease up the inside of the throttle housing as well. I used a little Q-tip to make the process easier. Remember, a little goes a long way, so don't get crazy. Let's slide the tube back on and feel that sucker spin. Go ahead and reattach the throttle cables back to the tube and reassemble the throttle housing as well. Insert the screws and go back and forth when tightening these up. The longer one goes at the top and the shorter at the bottom, at least for these DRZs. And please do not torque the shit out of these. A little extra love once it's snug and you should be good. Let's give this a turn and oh baby, you hear that snapback? That's what we want, always. If you stuck around till the end of this video, thank you. And if you found this even a tad bit helpful, please consider hitting the like button or subscribing for more random motorcycle content like this. Cheers and ride safe, y'all. Peace.